Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cloverly Academy. My name is Sophia Wardell, and today we have a very special guest, entrepreneur and CEO of Bookster, Scott Richmond. Scott is the CEO of the company Bookster, where authors are connected to a passionate audience of 1.5 million readers. Scott has been featured and quoted in many publications, including the New York Times, GQ, Billboard Magazine, and the Wall Street Journal. Thanks for joining us today, Scott.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And today I want to talk about social media with you. So, Scott, tell us, what types of content do you find resonate most with readers on social media, especially for book promotion?
So I think that, one of the main things I tell authors, and one of the sayings we have at Bookster is fall in love with the author, fall in love with their books,
Mm,
or fall in love with the author. And you have when you let people fall in love with the author, you have a fan for life. And I try to have authors understand, like, if you look at the music industry, people don't it's not like Ariana Grande's, record cover is there, and then you're like, buy this record," and then there's a quote from another artist saying, "Yeah, I like Ariana Grande's record." But if you think about it, that's how people sell books, right? There's a book cover, a quote from some author that's more famous than the author that wrote the book, and they're saying, "Hey, buy this book." But the fact is that, once you're a fan of a certain artist, you buy everything that you ever anything that they do. So with books, we try to encourage authors, like, let them get to know you, let them connect with you. Let them find out, like, why are you telling your story? Why do you care? Why should I care about you? So that's pretty much like what we try to bring out of authors and how we work with authors.
right, that makes perfect sense. And what strategies would you recommend for effectively engaging with followers to build a community around a book or series?
So I usually tell people, be consistent. And everyone's trying to chase the viral post. And I actually have taken, like, clients and said, all right, let's look at this person's viral post. What happened afterwards? And you just watch it go down, 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 down. There's the few people who are always viral, and then there's everybody else. And so chasing that whole viral thing is just such a silly, uh, you know, exhausting process. So I say, be consistent, and then, have something for people to care about. If it's your
Mm,
cat, have people care about your cat. You know, if you're telling stories for a certain reason, have people get that. Have people get a day in your life. Like, for everybody, it's going to be something different, but it really is like, why should I care about you? And then give them what there is to care about. So, the whole idea of, like, selling is, doesn't work. Like, hey, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. Like and share. Like, all those things turn people off. But, letting people know your humanity, letting people know your motivation, and being consistent about it, being consistent about who you are, what you say, and that it's not 3 weeks since your last post, you know?
right.
But if you're gonna post once a week, post once a week. You're gonna post every day. But find your cadence and stick with it.
Interesting. And speaking of posting, now I know you said just stay consistent, but are there specific times of day or week that you recommend to post?
Not really. I mean, again, this is like those silly stories. Uh, the same way people chase viral posts is the same way they're like, post at 8 a.m. when everyone's on the toilet and looking at their Instagram. That's just not true. So it it it's I've had the actual privilege of, because Bookster has very large channels, of talking to people at Facebook and Instagram. So the main thing they said is, whatever you do, do it the same time every time. So if you post 11 a.m. on Mondays, post 11 a.m. on Mondays every Monday. Don't post 11 a.m. Monday this time and then 2 p.m. the next time, then 6 p.m. the next time. Whatever you do, be consistent. Now, I will say that I recommend posting in the mornings. Um, but you also want to think about where is your audience. So, if your audience is on the West Coast and you're posting 6 a.m. in New York, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's, you want to think about where your audience is. And eventually your analytics on Instagram, on Facebook will tell you when the audience is there. However, it's one of those feedback loops that might be telling you because you're already doing it. So, sometimes the data doesn't really help you. So you really just have to get that feel for it and you'll see.
And how, on more of a technical side, can authors best use short form video content like Reels, TikTok, etc., to drive engagement and possibly book sales?
Well, I think that it's very different depending on what kind of author you are. So if you're a nonfiction author and you have a book that's like 5 ways to be more productive, or not, actually, that's not a book. Okay, that would be the article about your book. But, you know, if your book is, 1,000 ways to be more productive, whatever it is, right? Then your, short form content should be about being productive. And you shouldn't worry about giving away the book. No
Hmm.
one's going to remember. No one's taking notes. You know, they're just getting, did I get value? Did I not get value from what I just watched? So for nonfiction people, it really is that you just have to really produce content that's consistent with what your book is. Now, for fiction authors, it's a very different. And for fiction authors, it could be that you're talking about your writing process, you're kind of revealing the behind the scenes. It could be that you share, again, there's a very well-known author I know, all she does is share her cat. So it's, why is someone gonna fall in love with you? Why is someone gonna care? Why is someone gonna want to know what you're doing next week? And make content about that. If that's you playing with your cat and it works, do it. If that's you helping people have a better life, do that, or and everything in between.
And do you think, Scott, that there is such a thing as too much posting when you're an author? Like, could you overwhelm the audience by posting too many times a day?
Yeah, well, look, the more you post, the worse each post does throughout a day. So unless you have a large audience, the uh the algorithm is going to do the work for you, and it's going you're going to know right away I'm posting too much content. So really people should, unless you have some huge following, you shouldn't post more than 2 or 3 times a day. I mean, even that could be a lot.
Mhm.
So I think that the best way to know this is just go look around. And there's a reason people do things. You don't have to have like a research division to figure it out. So, go look, see who the people are. And that, yeah, that would be my other piece of advice is go look at people who are comparable to you that are doing well and see what they're doing. So, and you'll see they're not putting up 5 posts a day. So, only certain companies and certain individuals are going to do that, and it'll be appropriate for them.
And Scott, that makes me think of one more question to close. Where are most of the people on social media right now? Or where do you think that an author should be posting the most?
Um, that's a great question. So, first of all, I would say the number one platform for authors and readers and book lovers is Instagram. Instagram, absolutely. And I was surprised to find this because you'll hear so much about TikTok and book talk and all that. But it really is that still Instagram is the most used, even by young people, and that it's kind of the has the most kind of even, predictable audience and content and all that. So, there's millions and millions of book lovers there to connect with. Then, of course, there's TikTok, and we have book talk, all that. But that's the thing about people chasing likes and things like that. Don't go on TikTok if you want your video to have thousands of views. I've seen people who have, you know, 20,000 followers do a video that has 300 views. So if you want to make content and you have something to say, go ahead and do it on TikTok. But really, Instagram should be like your anchor. And then, of course, LinkedIn is a place where thought leaders should be, especially, and people who do nonfiction. LinkedIn is super important. Um, and there's places like Pinterest and also Facebook. People underestimate that Facebook's importance. So Facebook is pretty much the only place where there's groups, and there are a lot of author groups and there are a lot of reader groups on Facebook that are not anywhere else. So people pretend like Gen Z is not on Facebook anymore. That's actually not true. A lot of readers are on Facebook, and don't I would never say skip Facebook. And especially if you're an older author and you have your community is older, Facebook is going to be important there too. Lastly, and very importantly, the literary community has made a big move over to Blue Sky. So with, we don't want to get into politics, but with recent developments, people are leaving Twitter, and there's been a very large migration over to Blue Sky. So for people who like to be savvy and on top of things, I would recommend setting up your Blue Sky, following some of the, and basically, if you want to ask what is Blue Sky, it looks almost exactly like Twitter.
Mm.
Okay. But it's like decentralized, whatever. And also on Blue Sky, for all those people who have problems with video's probably the least important thing on Blue Sky. It's great for pictures, it's great for whatever they're going to call their tweets. Um, and also really good for articles. So, you know, that's what I would say as far as where authors should make sure that they are.
Well, thank you so much, Scott. That was wonderful information on social media.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Lastly, where can our listeners find and connect with you?
So if you go to bookster.com, bookstr.com, that's where we are. And we're Bookster Official on Instagram, and we're Bookster on Facebook. And you can find us pretty much either as Bookster Official or Bookster anywhere that social media exists.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to today's interview with entrepreneur and CEO of Bookster, Scott Richmond. Be sure to check out our website for more videos. Wishing you all a fulfilling and successful writing journey.